Hi ladies, I'm Tina McIntosh and I wish I could be with you today. I'm finding it's hard to be in two places at once, and so I'm with my family, but I'm honored that you asked me to be with you in this way for Delta Zeta Region Day. This sorority meant the world to me when I was in college and certainly helped to shape the person that I am today. I graduated undergrad from Ball State in 1994, and I was excited when I got to pledge Delta Zeta. It just made good sense to me. It was a great group of women, and I really enjoyed my time as a Delta Zeta. And as a matter of fact, some of my sorority sisters are still my dearest friends. Sorority guided me in ways that I didn't understand at the time that I was there. For one, I fell in love with the philanthropic component of Delta Zeta. Don't get me wrong, the sisterhood, the community, the relationships, the gatherings, pretty much the everything. They were great too, but there was really something when I look back about the leadership opportunities that guided my head and the philanthropic component that really guided my heart. I don't think enough can be said about choosing a future for yourself, a career path, a family, whatever it is that fills your heart. So for me, I went on to graduate school at Ball State as well. I studied college student personnel, thinking that I would go on to run a student voluntary service somewhere, and that I simply didn't. It ended up not being the right career path for me, and so I went into event planning, which was a pretty cool gig as a woman, single woman in her 20s, especially when my biggest client became the Indianapolis Colts. It was a very fun and creative time in my life, but as life does, it changes pretty fast, and so within a short amount of time, one of my best friends committed suicide. And my biological father, who I had disowned 2 years prior because he was an alcoholic, he was beaten by 5 guys with baseball bats in my hometown of Fort Wayne, and they had left him for dead. I was called as his next of kin, and as a matter of fact, my sister went to Ball State as well, picked her up on the way back to Fort Wayne as we planned his funeral the entire time. It's a long story, but in the end, he survived, and now he is a very big part of my life and the lives of my children and the rest of my family as well. But losing my friend through this journey, along with the other ups and downs of life, really led me to understand that what I needed to do professionally and personally had to be for myself and for the greater good of what God wanted me to do. As a pledge with Delta Zeta, I volunteered at the Alpha Center, which is an adult day service in Muncie, and I loved it there. There was something about working with the aging population that got into my soul that I just couldn't shake. But I filed away for about 9 years, and when my friend passed and this accident with my dad, my mother had won a cruise through work. My mom and dad had been divorced since I was 2. My mom won a cruise through work and took me with her. And there was something about surrounding me by water, which was very much a spiritual place for me, that just changed my life. And I came back and I quit my job to start this adult day thing. This was an incredible time in my life when I started this business. I'd never started a business before. I had the support of my friends and the community. I later found out that my friends planned an intervention at one point. They thought I had completely lost my mind. But regardless, I also met my husband through this process, and together we all renovated a 100-year-old farmhouse. So now we are an adult day service, which is set up like, I hate to say like a child care, but if I do that, it always clicks for people. We're open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. until 6 p.m., and we host adults who want to continue living in their homes with the people they love the most. These are folks that have life-altering diagnoses like Alzheimer's disease, other dementias, Parkinson's disease, Huntington's, MS, you name it. At this point, we've seen it. We've been open for 15 years, and about 5 years ago, we renovated and expanded this old farmhouse in Broad Ripple, and now we have 12,000 square feet where we serve these folks on a daily basis, and we're getting ready to absorb a second location on the south side of Indianapolis. So more importantly for me is that we get to keep families together and that we get to change lives for the better. And I'm very blessed to do what I do professionally. I feel like at this point in my life, I've learned some things that are worth sharing. And so I'm going to give you kind of my own top 10 list. Okay, so this may explain why this video looks a little elementary. The first one is use your resources. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Maya.
This is Maya. She is my 6th grader. Another resource of mine is my son. That's
Hey.
Webster. You're in what grade?
3rd and 4th.
You don't even know what grade you're in. Web's in 3rd grade.
4th.
And then this is Georgia.
Hi.
And Georgia, what grade are you in?
Pre-K.
Pre-K. Georgia is my 5-year-old. In all seriousness, I think the word using gets a bad rap, but the reality is you have to learn to use your resources. You have to understand that people can do things better than you can do it a lot of the times, and that you just don't have all the knowledge. So using your resources is my first tip for you for the day. The second one is to dream. When I was starting Joy's House, someone gave me a great piece of advice, and they said that whenever you have a dream, you should do at least one thing every day to get you toward that dream. So it might be send an email, it might be do research, it might be talk about it, it might be pray about it. Whatever it is for you, do one thing to get yourself toward your dream every day, and I promise it will be here before you know it. Fail at something. I'm afraid it might end up being this video. But in all honesty, people don't remember you for the things that you fail at doing or that you don't do well. People remember you for a lot bigger things than that. You have not asked me to be a part of today with you because of the gourmet clubs I tried that didn't work, or the book that I desperately wanted to write that didn't happen. People just don't remember you for the things that you fail at doing. They remember you for the things you do right. And if you don't get out there and try, then you're failing without even trying. So I want you to fail. The next one is discuss expectations. So how do I know if my husband wants us to have a date night once a month if he doesn't tell me? Or if I'm being a good friend, a good mother, a good boss, whatever it is. So
You're being a good mother.
thanks, Maya. I will tell you that one of my dearest friends is preparing to move, and she called me the other day and said that she wanted to discuss expectations with me about how our friendship was going to be different when she moved. Some of the things that she shared with me really surprised me, and I was so delighted that she had taken the time and really had the backbone to call and share her feelings with me and tell me what it is that she truly expected. The next one is embrace your emotions. There is a fantastic book called Tuesdays with Morrie, and I highly suggest that you read it. I'll take that. Thank you. In the book, Morrie is an older gentleman he's actually on his deathbed, but he gives words of wisdom and life lessons throughout, and one of the things he talks about is when you're having an emotion, letting yourself feel it. I think so many times when we're sad, we fight being sad, or when we're happy, we're afraid that it's not going to last. And what Morrie teaches us in this book is that you really feel the emotion that you have from the tip of your head to the tips of your toes, and you let yourself fully engage in that emotion, and then you let it back out so you can open yourself up for the next emotion. All right, the next one I'm going to do on my own. The next one is give real hugs. So most of us, I think when we give hugs, it's kind of that hug, pat, pat, and we walk away, and it feels almost like we don't mean it. So one of the things that I've really challenged myself in the last couple of years is to give real hugs. I tell you, my sister gives the best hugs ever. She gives you a hug that basically tells you how she's feeling, and she wraps her arms around you, and she takes a breath, and it's not as creepy as it sounds. It's really wonderful. There's also scientific proof that if you really want to feel the benefit of a hug, to hug someone for 30 seconds, I'll tell you that gets a little weird. I try it sometimes and it kind of feels like a human prison. But really giving someone a hug, my daughter's making funny faces. But really getting in there and giving real hugs is important. The next one is practicing random acts of kindness. I would imagine a lot of you have done this, maybe without even knowing it. It is one of the coolest things that you can do. So whether it's that buying a cup of coffee for someone behind you in line, or taking someone, I don't know, cookies that you've made and leaving them on their doorstep with a note that it's from you. You can do all kinds of things, and it's so good for the other person, and really you don't know how it's going to change their life, but it's also great for you. The way that you feel after you do that, I can only imagine how it feels to receive that kindness as well. So I would challenge you to do some kind of a random act of kindness for someone else, maybe by the end of today. I simply just don't think you'll regret it, and you'll truly never know how it impacts the other person. Accept that relationships change. So accepting, that's it, ladies. I mean, really accepting that relationships change. I made some notes on this one, and I know that, saying this, I know that many of you are immediately thinking about romantic relationships, and that's okay to think about that. Those are relationships, and they do change, but I also challenge you to think about your family, your friends that you grew up with, your friends that you have now. Think about your teachers, the people you have lived with and around. And I want you to realize that relationships come and go, but what matters, in my opinion, is that you appreciate them when they're here, and that you don't hang on to them longer than you should. When it's time for a change, you should let that change happen. Always come with a resolution. So this is one of my rules at work, but it applies just about everywhere. I think it's annoying and exhausting when someone continually comes to us with a problem. My suggestion to you is that when a problem arises, think of what a solution might be, and then go to the person that can help make it come to be. And your solution might not be the best, might have to do something different altogether, but at least you've come with one way of how to solve the problem. And I'll share with you that some of my best staff are the people who do just this. I know that they are smart and trustworthy and creative and thinking all of the time. Have positive relationships. I don't know about you, but I get exhausted by hanging out with someone with negative energy. I think it is draining, and you all know exactly who I'm talking about. You have had that friend, or you have that friend now. And I wouldn't want you to ditch that person altogether, but I want you to recognize that who you surround yourself with is how you develop, and it just becomes a part of who you are. So surrounding yourself with positive relationships. You can still have that person in your life, but it's usually best to distance yourself a little bit, because negativity breeds negativity. And if that's true, then the opposite is true as well, that positive people bring positiveness in our lives and fulfill us in ways that we can't imagine. Embrace the imbalance. Okay, in all fairness, if you're counting, and seriously, is anyone really counting? But this is number 11. I know I said I'd give you 10, but this is my absolute favorite one. Embracing the imbalance, I want you to think about it. We are told all of the time, especially as women, that we need to find balance in our lives. I am here to tell you it's just not possible. We're setting ourselves up to fail when we're trying to find balance, and I suggest that you be where you are at every moment, and you just embrace the imbalance. There are some days I am an incredible boss, but a really crummy mother. There are other days that I am a fantastic wife, but maybe my house isn't as clean. And see, a thumbs up for my 11-year-old. You know that's a big deal. But
it's your 11th one.
My 11th one, that's right. I highly suggest that you embrace the imbalance in your life. All right, ladies, so speaking of embracing the imbalance, I'm out. I want to thank you again for letting me be with you today and share a little bit of myself and some of the things I've learned. I know you didn't really have a choice, but I'm hoping that there was something that clicked with you today. And I don't care if you remember that I'm the one that shared it with you. I just hope that something that we've shared in the last, I don't even know how long this will end up being, maybe half an hour, has resonated with you. So I know I'm better for the time together. Best of luck to you, and real big hugs for all of you Delta Zeta ladies, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day.